Torsten, you've had such a great and varied background doing so many different things in this industry. I was wondering, first of all, what inspired you to get into advertising or marketing? And partly the reason I want to know that is because some people study advertising and marketing and they think that's the way in, and other people say, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I'm just curious if you have a story for how you got in.
My story was that in college, when everybody else was doing lifeguarding or construction and whatnot, those were things I wasn't able to do. And so, and that wasn't at the time when internships, when that was the thing you had to do, right? My father knew somebody in the ad world and had said, well, you're very ADD and we need to get your energy out somehow, but you're also incredibly creative, so why don't you go try and do this art direction thing? And I said, all right, because for me, it was something that I was able to do, right, without physicality, but rather I was able to use a laptop, obviously, and use a computer, and so that was kind of the perfect fit for me. Until we realized that I'm partially colorblind. And so being an art director as a partially colorblind person doesn't work out too well. So I learned that after two internships.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that you entered in through the art side, because I know you as a big thinker, as someone who's very strategic, really great with research. So I'm just a little surprised to hear that that's where, you know, that was your entry point instead of, you know, oh, I was curious about human behavior or something. But
so unfortunately, I didn't know enough about advertising, so I went in through the creative side. I actually then wanted to see what the other side was about. So my next adventure was into the account side. I went into the account side and I got fired because it wasn't how I thought. And somebody handed me the book Truth, Lies, and Advertising by John Steele. And at page 43, I put it down and I applied to Miami Ad School, and that's when I became a planner. So I've seen every side of the business at this point.
Well, but that's great, right? And that's great for the people that you work with, because you can really empathize with people as you're doing your job in these teams that you work in.
Exactly.
So you know what I'm curious about, because you've done client side, you've done agency side, and you started your own business, right? First of all, what's really exciting about starting your own? Like, was that scary or exciting, I guess is the question.
I think any entrepreneurial endeavor is both exciting and terrifying at the same time. I think accepting the fact that you don't know what you're about to get into is the most interesting part of it, because you're not put into guardrails, right? But there's a moment in time where you go, what point is this working out and what point is this not working out?
Right.
What do I want to do, I think, was the scariest thing of all. Because you get into it and you go, do other people actually want this? Is somebody going to pay me for this? It's scary. And that, by the way, has nothing to do with entrepreneurialism. It's business in general, right? Are we doing the right thing? Do we need to evolve? That's small business and big business. It's the same lesson on both sides.
It feels like you kind of zigged when everyone else zagged, right? You did the entrepreneurial thing, but then you brought yourself back into the fold of the agency world. So why that transition then?
Opportunity played a big part of everything. And realizing when the moment was okay to be able to start something by yourself. And that is the first company that I started, I was single. Right, and so it was just a moment in time that I could do it. The second company I started, I was married, and that was a bigger conversation to be had.
Right.
This is going to affect us. We didn't have kids yet, right? And so I'm still able to take that risk.
Can you talk to me a little bit about how it's been to be forthcoming and to be so sure of your point of view? That's what I recall about you, is that you have conviction in your beliefs and you like to take risks.
I do. I think my tact has changed a little bit, where I used to say it's not, the way I think about it now is it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Everybody always wants to know where they stand. It is exponentially more excruciating if you're always wondering what somebody thinks about you, or wonders if you're getting the right answer. I'd rather give the right answer and be very upfront about it, but the difference is your tact. If you say something incredibly nicely, you can say something that's incredibly brutally hard to take, but it's coming from a caring place. I think when I was a little bit younger, I went in on it as a, but I know I'm right. I know I'm right, and therefore I'm just going to say what I know is right. You know, I look back and I think maybe that's something I could have changed a little bit.
Sounds like you did.
I did, and I'm here now, so it, you know, kind of worked out a little bit for me. But I think changing how you say things is the most important part.
Great. What would you say you look for? So some people like to say they weren't double majors or they studied this or they what when a candidate comes to you or to the people who work for you and you say, look for this, what is that thing?
There are different styles of working. I think in what we do, collaboration is something that is just uber necessary. So if I hear a lot of I's, that's a little bit of a flag. Right? Even if I just hear we's and it's a we project in college, right? That's interesting to me because I know professors are making them do it as we versus I. Right. So just the words that they're using, how they're using it, are they giving credit to other people, right? And did they say, no, it was really great when I with somebody? You know, I go, okay, so now I know I can throw them in a room with other people. They're going to figure out how to work together. I think that's super fascinating. The ability and the humility to say, I don't know, is incredibly important. College doesn't get you ready to work. It allows you to go to work. It's our job to get them ready to work. I don't want them coming in saying, I'm going to be a strategist on day one, right? And that happens a lot where there's this hubris of just, but I know what I'm doing. My response is, I'm almost 40, I have no idea what I'm still doing, right? So I have no idea how you know what you're doing. The ability to say I don't know is, I think, something in our country that we've removed. It is not okay to say I don't know.
It's like a weakness, or it's seen as a weakness.
It's seen as a weakness. I see it as a strength because I don't know a lot of things, and I have an amazing team around me that does know, and they're there so that I can know when I need to know it.
Right.
And that's incredibly important from a junior perspective, because we are there to teach them. And so the more they're talking about saying, I want to be part of this, but I also need to learn, you know, that's an incredible strength, I think. And lastly, I think the obvious one is internships, but varied and variety of internships. So you don't need to know what you want to do when you go into your internship. So I don't care that you've just been doing strategic internships for the last 3 years of your college career, and then you become a strategist. I want to see that you've tried different things, but why? Why did you? And if you say because it was something that was in front of me, that's okay too, because I realize how hard it is to get an internship. Right. But that's important because it's not also about what you're learning, it's about who you're learning it with and who you're learning it from. So if you can explain that and what was interesting and what you learned from those people, that makes me understand what it's going to be like to work with you.
That's great.
Domenico Vitale had once said to me, it's really easy to get, really hard to get in the business, very easy to stay in. And I was like, yeah, that's actually kind of true. You know, it's not easy to get in, but oh, I love it, so I'm staying in.
Is there something about your agency that's a secret?
JWT is not a huge agency, like, and I don't mean numbers wise, I mean behavior. Like culture would picture it to be, right? 154-year-old agency, first ever agency. Jay Walter founded advertising. That it is such a massive ship, and that it can't behave in certain ways. I've come to find it to be exponentially more nimble than I thought it would be, if you know how to work with it, right? And you find the right people, and they are now more than ever. And so that's actually kind of exciting to me, that it's not just kind of a BDA, a big dumb agency, right? That it's kind of, it is working like a startup with the heft of a big agency.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really appreciate talking to you again.
Thank you,
it's
likewise.
Been great. Yay!
Excellent.